2017 meeting of the Finance Committee. Before we get to the approval of minutes, this is the first time we've met since the last special town meeting regarding the water company. And I just wanted to send some thank yous out because we had a historic town meeting. The acquisition of the water company is something that a lot of people have worked on for a long time. I really wanted to thank every member of this committee for the amount of work that you put in over the last year. It was quite an endeavor, and there was a lot of information to go through, and you know, you guys really trudged through it, and I really think that the town is a better place because of this acquisition. And once again, I wanted to thank all your work that you did. I wanted to thank town council. I wanted to thank the town administrator and certainly the selectmen and the rest of the financial team on the work that happened to the culmination of the water company acquisition at the special town meeting. So. With that, the first agenda item is the approval of the agenda of the minutes for the September 13th, 2017 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mike, second by Jack. All those in favor? Unanimous.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
And one abstention from Chuck. Next item on the agenda is the highway. We have Scotty coming in. We're going to be doing capital tonight. Al is not here, but all the members that have capital on the warrant have gone before Al and his capital subcommittee through the vetting process, submitted all their documents and that type of stuff. So with that being said, why don't we have a quick outline, Scott? Like I said, I know you've gone before the subcommittee on your capital, but if you can just let us know what you're looking for in Article 1.
Money to do some maintenance on Dilla Street Bridge. I sent all the stuff to Al today. I don't know if you guys had got it.
He did. Your stuff is not on the drive last time I checked, so if you can just verbally convey it.
Right, so we get bridge inspections every 2 years, all bridges. So the Dilla Street Bridge has kind of been getting a little worse year by year, so I need, we're looking at about $150,000 to do all the maintenance. I do have quotes for the work, and we're actually lower than that. We're gonna be probably in the $75,000 range, maybe a little more. I don't wanna undercut it, but with that work, there's brush clearing, there's the river cleaning, there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done around the bridge. That's all part of the inspection. So what I was thinking I'd like to do is change it from Dilla Street Bridge to bridges in general, because there's other bridges that also need a little bit of work, and I'd like to get on top of everything if that's, you know, now's the time to do it, where I have it out to bid. I have all the different things that need to be done is all out to bid, so.
So the 150, you take the remainder of the 150 that you don't spend there,
Yeah.
and head out and do some other projects.
Well, other bridge projects, other bridge.
Other bridge,
maintenance.
that's, yeah.
So all according to the bridge inspections, obviously, so. But we do have some minor stuff on other bridges. The other bridge on Dilla Street at the water company needs a little bit of work. There's one on South Main Street that needs a little bit of work. I think the 150 is enough to cover all the work I need to do at this time, and then our bridges should be, you know, top end, no issues.
Great. Any questions?
So you're deleting Dilla Street and inserting bridges instead, right?
Right. But the main bridge is Dilla, but we'll spread it out, do all the bridges while we have them here, basically.
Hold on.
Just a quick question, Scott. You, at one point, maybe I'm talking about the wrong bridge. You were gonna use your staff to do the cleanup or the work there, which was gonna cost $300,000, and you were gonna get it with your own people and
Yeah,
get it
that
for a lot
was
less.
the dam,
That was the dam.
like
Okay.
dam, so, yeah, a whole different project,
Okay, fine, that's fine.
same area.
Any other questions for Scott?
I move favorable, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Aldo, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor for favorable recommendation, Article 1? Unanimous. Thanks,
Do
Scott.
I have to, how do I go forward, change it, just do it at town meeting?
Yeah,
Okay,
yep, I mean, obviously consult with Jerry about that, but that should be fine.
okay.
Yep.
All right,
Thanks for
excellent.
coming in, sir,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Next, the fire department. Chief, I saw you in the back of the room. The fire department is Article 13 in the warrant regarding Rescue 1. I'm going to be saying it a lot. Once again, the chief went through the capital project with Al, and it has been on the plan for quite a while now. So if you can just
Yeah.
give us a quick 30,000 foot.
Back when we did the plans, my brother, where the the board wanted a 5-year plan. He went out 20 years, so we've held it since he retired that way. This year, we're due for a rescue truck. Current rescue truck's a 2011 Ford F-550. It was purchased in October of 2010 for $150,000. What we're proposing to do is replace it with a 2018 F-350 with a custom-built cap at a cost of $100,000. Basically, we're getting smaller, lighter, more efficient, more economical, and if we were ever to have an incident where the truck was damaged or something, it would be a lot cheaper to replace. We explored the possibility of putting a new chassis underneath our existing body, excuse me, and that would, the price of just the transfer will be $100,000 plus the cost of a new chassis, which would put it up in the area of $150,000 where we were before. The second option is what we're presenting. The third option will be to continue with the present truck for another year. Present truck's got a little over 70,000 miles on it, a little over 9,000 engine hours, and I don't drive the truck. The guys are saying that it's getting loose. It's, you know, it's,
And it's your most used vehicle in the fleet?
yes, it does the highest percentage of calls by far.
Yep.
And it's cheaper to run a smaller truck doing all the medicals than it is to roll around in a $500,000 engine.
And before I open it up for questions, I just had one question for you. I see that Rescue One is gonna get moved down into a more supplemental role. You're not gonna get rid of it?
I'd like to keep it. I may not be here when it happens, but you're very rapidly approaching the point where you're going to have to, just because of call volume, you're gonna have to increase staffing and potentially put a second rescue truck on the road, because we're just getting stretched too thin too often.
So Rescue One would move to?
Yeah, we wouldn't get rid of it. We
Secondary
wouldn't-
calls?
Yeah, we could keep it as a reserve. It's just not fit for the everyday pounding it takes. You know, we could keep it for when the new rescue truck goes out for maintenance. We can keep it if we get busy. We can put it into service. It'll be fully equipped, ready to go. And like with the previous trucks, when we're done with it, you know, I'll hand it off to Scott, and it's perfectly useful around town for non-emergency work.
Aldo?
So I understand it, Chief. Your article will read, you're gonna buy the second version, which is the 350 versus the 550.
Correct.
Chassis included, obviously, because you can't transfer chassis.
Yeah,
But the last time around, I think it was more cost-effective to buy a whole new truck with a new chassis than it was to transfer the old chassis.
yes.
So
It's-
I'd move favorably, Mr. Chairman.
Before you do it, do I have any other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep, Jeff?
thank you. I heard what you said about economical to run, but why are we going to a smaller size? I mean, ever since I've known, it's always been a full size.
Yeah, we got bigger and heavier, and for what we use it for, which is 95% just routine medicals where it needs medical equipment, some heavy equipment for the car accidents, stuff like that. We're moving off to the new ladder when that comes in the spring. So you'll see your ladder responding to a lot of motor vehicle accidents. But we're also going from diesel to gas, because we're having a lot of problems with the diesel engines, because they're not made to idle like they used to be. With the gasoline engines, we won't have the anti-pollution issues, but we're trying to get smaller and lighter, carry less equipment on the truck. It'll better fit what we actually use it for.
Thanks, Chief. I'll second.
So, motion by Aldo, second by Jeff for a favorable recommendation on Article 13. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, Chief, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
I don't see the police chief, so if we want to swap, I do see Vernon Grove representative in the crowd, looking dapper as usual.
Special town meeting.
How you doing, Jamie?
How we doing? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody? Coming before you, Vernon Grove Board of Trustees is looking to replace another lawnmower. We were here previously, about 2 years ago, I believe. We replaced some of the older equipment with a new lawnmower then. We're basically looking to get rid of the other tractor that we have. We're gonna put it in a secondary role just in case we need a backup and get rid of some other small stuff. We're looking for the exact same mower that we purchased last time. The guys are happy with it. They've had good luck with it. It's been efficient. So, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's the way we look at it. And quite simply, I went out to bid, got some prices. We're looking in the ballpark of 16,000. It should come in under that. The 3 quotes I have is a little less than that, but I put that number on there to be safe, just in case, you know, anything popped up on it, just to cover. And the last one we had came in a little bit below 14,000. I believe this one will be just north of 14,000 safely, but that's what we're looking at.
I think it was in 1997, isn't it?
Yes, the mower we're replacing right now, a tractor, it's a 1997. I mean, it's falling apart. We put a lot of money into the parts this year, and to be honest with you, with our small budget we have for operations, it isn't worth spending the amount of money, you know, hundreds of dollars on parts for this old tractor. Let's face it, these tractors are used in a 35-acre cemetery, you know, every day. Most people don't even still have a 1997 tractor at their house, you know, so that's what we're looking to replace.
And this has been on the capital schedule. It has been reviewed by the capital subcommittee. They were aware of it and in favor of it. So with that, I'd like to open it up. Does anybody have any questions for Jamie?
Move favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Favorable, a recommendation by Jeff, second by Chuck. All those in favor? Excellent.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Awesome. Craig, you want to do schools? Sure. Great. All right, Assistant Superintendent Consigli's here for the school department. For Articles 17 and 18 on the warrant. Why don't we do Article 17 first, which is the playground.
Playground. Good evening, everyone. So we're looking for $60,000, which is approximately half of the cost of a memorial school playground, which will replace the existing structure. The current structure is in disrepair and is really truly a safety hazard.
Now, this has been discussed in the capital subcommittee. This is not paying for the entire playground. The Memorial PTO and the staff at Memorial have been doing continued fundraisers through, they had some runs, they had, you know, their usual fundraiser stuff. And how much money did they raise?
Currently $37,000, and they're looking to raise $50,000 by the spring.
So this isn't just us paying for it, this was us trying to match funds with the Memorial PTO school and everything to try to help them get a top-notch playground. This was on the capital subcommittee report. We had talked about that we had the intention of matching this, and we kind of had committed to that in the past. So with that being said, I'm gonna open up does anyone have any questions or comments for Greg?
When do you plan on starting working on this playground?
In the spring, hopefully,
Spring.
yeah.
I'm sorry, what were the numbers again? I heard 60 and 120. Is 60 what the town?
That would be the
60
town's
the-
portion.
That's the town, and,
Yes.
and 60 is what you're anticipating from private?
50.
50,
Yeah.
so it's 110.
Will you be making sure that the company that gets the award on this will certify that the playground will meet ADA requirements for playgrounds?
Yes,
And they've done that.
yep.
Any other questions for Craig regarding the playground memorial?
Move favorable.
I have a motion from Aldo. Do I have a second from Jack? All those in favor of a favorable recommendation on Article 17? Unanimous. Thanks, Craig. Next is Article 18, which is the Chromebooks. Why don't you give us a quick highlight on what that?
So currently, we have Chromebooks at Woodland School, which is grades 3 to 5, Stacy, 6 to 8, and grade 9 at the high school. We're looking to go, to finish that off in grades 10, 11, and 12. We're looking for $300,000 to go to have Chromebooks in grades 3 to 12.
All right, before we open it up, I just want to remind everybody that when we did the Chromebooks last time, we had done them in the spring. And we had done that in a non-capital meeting for the specific reason that the kids would not have it for the school year if we waited till this October to start the Chromebook initiative. So we went and did the 5, out of the 8 grades? Or was it
What
4
did
out of
we do?
7?
We did
4 out of 7,
4,
thank you.
yes.
So we had done that in the Maytown meeting. So now that we had told them when we can't do the whole thing, come back when we do regular capital, and that's why they're back for the last 3 grades on the Chromebooks. This was on the capital plan to do the remainder of the 3 grades, and the capital subcommittee was in favor of that. So with that being said, I want to open it up for questions and discussion.
Yeah, correct, Mr. Chairman.
absolutely.
The total Chromebook expenditures was some 600,000, is that it? And is this 3 and 3? Is that how this got
Yes.
carved up? I'm just trying to refresh my memory how this.
I can't remember.
It was more last time because it was
More
four
because
grades.
of
I
four
think it was
grades.
385 last time.
Okay, but it was part of this $600,000 package, okay, all right. And so grades 1 and 2, you know, there were no plans to do that, is this?
No, we have some Chromebooks that we will move down to them. I think it's important that the second graders at least get their hands on them so they're ready when they get in the third.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, absolutely, Jeff.
Greg, hi. Is this, so the plan always was, and I remember from the spring that the plan was, this was just the initial purchase, but the replacement is all gonna be on the school, right?
Yes.
It's all gonna- Just, I'm just
We're
reiterating.
building
so
it in, yes.
It's built in,
part of the
even for these,
original-
so everything, all the replacement, this is one-time purchase.
That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
get.
School owns the rest.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Very good point, Jeff, to bring up,
Good.
because we did talk about that.
10, 11,
That we were gonna
12.
pony up for the beginning, and then they had committed to doing all the replacement further, in their own budget. Any other questions? I have a motion. Motion from Phil, second from Jeff. All those in favor for a favorable recommendation on Article 18 Chromebooks for the schools? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, everyone.
Here comes the chief.
Come on up, chief.
Chiefy, look at the chief. I haven't seen Chiefy in a while.
I know, we're running quick, I don't know. My committee's not asking questions, it's a little strange, so.
Okay, thank you.
So Chief, we, Chief, we have you in for Article.
Seize the moment, Chief.
I know, exactly.
Seize the moment.
He knows when to exit. So Chief, we have you on for Article 23, a chiller for the department. Just like everything else we talked about tonight, it had been reviewed by the capital subcommittee, so why don't you just give us a quick.
So the building, as you know, we looked at the HVAC system 3 years ago, and we replaced the boilers. One was down, it was dead, the other one was cracked. So that was $100,000, replaced those. The next thing, and it was prioritized, were the controllers. So all of the controlling system that runs HVAC was another $100,000, and they were leaking. So they were causing damage to the walls and floors. So we had pots up in the ceilings to catch just drippings, but it was a constant in some of those. So that was resolved last year. And then the last piece is the chiller that sits up the air conditioning. So we're coming to the end of the air conditioning season. That is leaking now, and we've been taking parts from old systems that they took out of other places. They can't maintain this. It's 1990. So we got our value out of it. So round number, they came in 95,000. I think my number was altered slightly, but I just built in a few $1,000s to probably like $5,000 just to make sure that if there's a hiccup. And that was about it.
Perfect. Yes, it was.
What number is it in?
23.
I mean, how much money?
Oh, I apologize.
Because I know I think it was amended from what,
I have,
yeah, I sent it as 105. I think it was.
yeah, 105.
Is it? Okay, so the bid we had, which is 2 years old, was at $95,000. Was the quote. So based on that, I added 5%, and then I add some money just to run into something. Whatever's not spent.
You always do.
Stay in the article.
You always do.
Favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Favorable by Aldo, second by Jack. All those in favor for favorable recommendation on Article 23, Chiller?
You can throw on extra money if you want.
Don't push it, Chief. Thanks, have a great night, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief.
Excellent. We are running at a record pace right now, so to be honest with you, Rick is coming down to go over the selectmen articles. Right now, we'll have,
Libraries?
library's not here. Why don't we have Selectman Kincaid, and I believe Rick is coming down. We can start doing the selectmen articles.
You didn't think you'd be up this quickly, did you?
I had 8, yeah, but you guys are,
Great
since
job.
you're
I
here, you might as well
some of the answers.
slip to the front because,
Mr. Chairman.
unfortunately, it's not unfortunately, but fortunately, it's going quick. Coming in now. All right, perfect. How you doing, gentlemen?
Doing all right. How are you, Mr. Chairman?
Good, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
You can be nice and polite, but you still have to answer the questions.
I will see. What we should do is buy a new microphone.
Not in the budget.
It's not in the budget. We'll have to
Not
put on
the
the,
capital
we'll have to put it
plan.
on the capital plan.
5 years from now, you can get your microphone. Article 2, actually, I don't know if Rick wants to do that one.
That's okay, just,
We're gonna be looking for numbers of them
Yeah,
and the cost, installation.
I apologize, folks. I'm waiting for town administrator.
Would you say some articles were pulled?
Yeah, some articles that we have on the agenda tonight, we are not gonna be discussing. We are not gonna be discussing,
Which ones are those?
and this was a late pull, Articles 6, 9, 12, and 19. The selectmen will be meeting on Monday,
we'd like the opportunity to address.
October the 16th, and they'd like to address some of those articles. They have in the past, but they want to update a little bit more.
Because then we can make your second meeting, right?
Yes, we're having another meeting on next Wednesday, the 18th, to finish this up. If I knew it was going to go at this pace, we probably could have done it in one meeting, but,
Who knew? It's planning,
yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, that's the thing is, and we had talked about the whole point of having the capital
Makes it
permit is that when we have it, we won't have to wait video.
It's been vetted and vetted.
All right, perfect. All right, so if you want to go to Article 2, that's fine, because there's not, here he comes right now. All right, Article 2 is the heating system here at the town hall. Administrator Valani, I apologize, I know I just pulled you out, but unfortunately, we're moving very fast, so I appreciate you moving up in the schedule.
I'm sorry, Article 2, the heaters?
Yes, so $60,000 for the heaters.
Yeah, this will replace 11 units on the first and second floor. If you've been in my office, the selectmen's conference room, that wall unit, they're those types of units. This is pretty much the last heater project in this building. We've been doing them over the last few years. This has been on the capital plan. It has progressed accordingly. They'll be replaced with new, higher efficiency units. Should obviously save on energy costs, should save on maintenance costs. We project $60,000. I think it actually should be a little bit less than that on the total actual cost, probably the high 55,000 plus. We will do this through what they call the Project Expediter Program, the PEX program. That's the program we have been using for the past several years for, again, the heater projects here. We've had a couple of projects at the police station, the chiller that's gonna be done, and then the HVAC and what have you. So basically, it's a process where you have licensed, authorized PEX dealers, and they will come in and they will do the project for us. That's what we've been doing. It kind of lets you limit it from going through the total procurement process. So again, these heaters are 35 years old. They're past their useful life. It's time to finish this project. And again, that will pretty much complete Town Hall as far as heating units.
And as the town administrator said, and it's a broken record, this has gone through the capital subcommittee. It has been on the long-term capital plan, and they had a favorable recommendation on the heating units in the amount of $60,000 for Article 2. Any other discussion?
Yeah, one quick question.
Yep, Aldo.
These also serve as the air conditioning units?
Yes,
too?
yeah, oh yes, I'm sorry, yes,
Okay, like a trans system, one of those?
correct, yes.
Jeff?
Rick, is there any kind of rebates on these? They're high efficiency equipment. We get
Not
anything?
on this project. Every
this
other
project?
project we have, I'm not aware that there is one on this project. Great question, because in the past projects, as you remember, there have been some rebates, but they don't show one on
Nothing
this
eligible.
project, correct. Again, this project is, this type of project is for a project $100,000 or less. A couple of the ones that we've done in the past were $98,000, $99,000, $96,000, and we did get, you're very correct, a rebate, but I don't see one here.
Thank you.
Very good question, Jeff. Anyone else for discussion on Article 2? With that being said, do I have a motion?
Favorable.
Motion by Chuck, second by Jeff. All those in favor for a favorable recommendation, Article 2? Excellent. 60,000? 60,000.
60,000.
Next one we have is Article 8. That is, did you want to wait on Article 8 as well?
No.
You good on
I'm
8?
gonna relinquish my seat. to the
Absolutely.
Finance Director. Let him deal with it.
So, Mr. Taylor, Article 8, we have pay rates and hours for the new employees of the Milford Water Department.
That's correct. So thus far, we got the affirmative vote from town meeting, and we've obtained all the confidential pay records that everyone's making currently at the water company. It's our hope, the selectmen's hope, that these employees come over to be town employees. And we took into consideration careful analysis to look at the differentials and some of the benefits that the town offers as comparison to what the water company offers, specifically Social Security versus pension and health insurance differentials. So in an attempt to try to make whole all these employees at their gross level, at the net level, I'm sorry, we've taken and categorized all the rates and submitted it to the personnel board right now, and it's basically an increase of $2.50 per hour to every individual, which should, some will benefit, some better than others, depending on what type of plan they took, but we had to get some kind of uniformity to it. So we've met with the personnel board thus far. They haven't completely blessed it. They've taken it under advisement, and they will meet at some point prior to town meeting to give their recommendation. And from there, it'll go to town meeting and be voted on. And further, thus far, what we have is just a scale of just one rate per uniform category. People may have been in different positions there, or have multiple positions with different steps as we would be accustomed to here. Part of the article will basically say that it'll grandfather anybody in those situations where they will not lose pay as a result of combining into one rate, and they will also be subject to additional $2.50 per hour in an attempt to make them whole. Also, part of that article will address vacation accruals and all that good stuff. So it's meant to have every employee there that would come here to minimally maintain what they have, if not possibly get a boost in certain areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what Zach's saying, just before we open it up, what they attempted to do is at the end of the day, when the water company employees were going home, if they were bringing home $500 a week in their pay, after insurance, after pension, after Social Security, all that kind of stuff, they did their best to try to maintain that when they come to the town, they would go home with $500 a week, so that no one was taking a big pay cut. So that's really what the essence of the article is. Aldo.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Treasurer, Finance Director, whatever.
Pretty casual here, huh? Yeah, you.
Does Chris Pella know we just lost his job?
I want more money.
You mentioned that they're gonna be grandfathered.
Possibly.
All right, let's assume they are.
Yes.
If the individual is making X dollars now and the position here would be less,
Yes.
that person would be grandfathered.
Yes.
Next year, if we get a salary increase, they're still grandfathered. Are you going to build on the grandfathered number and add the salary increase? Or will they not get a salary increase until such time as the others behind them have caught up?
That would depend on the annual vote at the town meeting when the personnel board puts it in. But if I had to answer that question, I would believe that the COLA would apply to them. We have similar situations
So
now
then,
where they do.
what happens
I
if
would
it's
anticipate that
a,
would be the case.
if it's a level 6 job position, right? Doesn't that skew all of the level 6s or level 7s? And do we now get into a contest on the town meeting floor that, well, that particular one is getting X amount of dollars per hour, we're getting this. What I'm trying to avoid is saying, gee whiz, we should have thought this out a little bit more. Because I think it tends, we spent a lot of money the last few years trying to systemize how we pay our
Yeah.
people. this could potentially skew everything,
The,
and we start over again from ground zero.
the expectation is going to be that following this initial town meeting, the personnel board will take the time to evaluate every position and to rank them accordingly with proper steps, grades, as we're accustomed to now. And it's quite possible that the water department may unionize as well, and they end up in a collective bargaining situation. But right now, it's a temporary situation to basically take them, grandfather their rates as is, and give the personnel board ample time to evaluate the positions.
But right now, we're looking at January.
Correct,
They'll be on board in January.
yes.
Okay, let's see how that works.
They're meeting literally with them right now. That's where we were.
Oh,
It's where I
I
was.
was gonna say,
I
sorry.
wasn't loitering, I was.
it's all right. Does anyone else, Phil?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Zach, just in terms of clarification, did you say that everyone was getting an increase of $2.50 per hour?
Correct.
Okay, and based on, what was the logic there? Why?
The differential in what their out-of-pocket costs will be for health insurance and
Okay.
pension. So the intent is to keep their, as the chairman said, to keep their take-home pay the same.
All right, so the differential is really due to the imbalance on the health
They
insurance
pay more on the
side.
town side than they do at the private water company.
Yeah, retirement, they're gonna have
And
to
just
pay
a,
it.
yeah, okay, good, no, I get it. Just a general comment too, during the, the transition period, it would probably be helpful to retain, water company employees. Not for, obviously, they have to perform, but at least for a short term, because you want some continuity. So I think that would be very, very helpful, so.
And Phil, if I can, that's actually been a topic of conversation even at our board meetings, because, we're all apprehensive about this, because, we need
Yeah.
everything to move as smoothly as possible, and we need to know how to turn the lights on and how
Yeah.
everything operates. And personally, knowing some of the employees there, I've had conversations with them, and I think the majority of them want to stay. I don't know what took place tonight.
They were all there.
I can't imagine they
Each
would
and every
want
one
to
was
stay.
there.
I
It was
really,
upstairs
I
right
can't
now.
imagine they would want to stay.
It's a new chapter, but they do their jobs, and I think they want to continue.
Yeah, well, as, I understand there's some experienced employees there as well, so that they have an experienced crew, so.
They certainly do.
Yeah.
One quick question. You mentioned something about retirement versus social security.
Correct.
Now, they obviously are gonna come into the municipal system, so they don't do social security.
Correct.
What do they pay? Are they 10% into the retirement fund now?
It's 9% for your entire pay, and then an additional 2% over $30,000. So basically average to 10.
Okay, thank you.
And I think this article, as well as many of the discussions that I've been present for the Selectmen and Executive Committee, the Selectmen have been very aggressive about making sure that the water company employees get a fair deal, and because they do want to retain them to come
Yeah.
over. And this article is an example of what they're trying to do in order to be able to maintain that staff. Because I think it is crucial for the start of the water company to have the current staff there, so we're not having, 14 new people, as, the chairman said, looking for light switches.
Yeah.
Because we don't know where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like I have a favorable recommendation from Phil.
Yeah, I'm favorable.
Second by Bobby. All those in favor for a favorable recommendation on Article 8? Unanimous.
Is there a dollar amount in this article?
Well, I don't think it is because we don't know how many employees are coming.
Yeah, it'll fall into
So-
the operational budget that I'll be presenting at the next FinCom meeting. But the actual motion is similar, if not identical, to what Article 2 presents. So it'll be the title of the position, the majority are hourly rates. There's 2 positions that are salary. There will be a minutes recorder, and there'll be the 3 first appointed, then elected commissioners, correct? All laid out in that article.
All right, great. We just voted, right?
Yeah, we
Senior
were.
moment?
Yeah.
Trust me,
Sorry, Chuck, you threw me off there.
you wanna
young
keep
for
the
that,
employees, you don't want Will, Bill, and I running the water company.
We've gone to great lengths to change legislation, so we're not the water commission.
That's for sure. All right, next article you guys have, we're passing 9, passing 12. 14, thank you, Jeff. Article 14,
What is this one?
if you know, Rick, yell out.
This is zoning bylaws?
Marijuana,
No?
14 marijuana?
Yeah,
Yeah,
marijuana,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
Thank you. All right.
pretty straightforward. That's
Two-thirds.
the bylaw to change the zoning bylaw, rather, that would ban marijuana establishments in all zones in the town of Milford. I mean, I guess, I'm sure everybody here is
Familiar with that.
very familiar with it, so I really don't want to say anything
No,
else. I'll defer to my two bosses.
Before I open it up, do you guys have anything that you want to? It's pretty
I mean,
straightforward.
It's
Yeah.
the same language that was on the referendum.
Correct.
The zoning bylaw needs 2/3.
Yep.
Did you refer to sponsor?
No,
I think this one's important.
We should
enough that
vote.
We jump in here.
yeah.
I was going to leave that open.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what the opinion of the board was.
Yeah, I'm favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Well, let's, yeah, okay. And then let's open it for discussion, Bobby.
This is the final step in the
Yes.
process.
Correct, it's a two-step process. This would be the second step.
Is it debatable? I'm sure it's debatable on town meeting floor.
It's a zoning bylaw, so people can amend, people can make motions, people can debate.
2/3 required.
Yep.
Chairman?
Yep.
Yep. Jeff, then Mike.
I'm all through, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bobby.
Go ahead.
Jeff, then Mike, yeah.
Well, and Michael, so it's important, so this article is written to match the referendum.
Yes.
And it's important to know that the article has to pass matching the referendum, or it nullifies the way the vote went in the town of Milford. Right, so if this gets passed, or if this is amended,
Yep.
it nullifies the vote, and
Jeff, before you do that, I'm sorry, just Chairman, why don't you do it, because.
Well, I just want to say that this has been a very big topic of conversation, never mind outside the walls of this building, but also inside these walls, because of the fact that the people voted for a very specific referendum, and that's the language that is being presented to town meeting. However, it is a zoning, it's an article and it's a zoning bylaw. It takes a majority to amend it. If a majority of folks amend it, it's amended. They do need to know that something could change if it is, if the article is amended and then voted as amended by 2/3. It does go to the Attorney General's office, as far as I understand the process, and I met with Jerry yesterday as well about this. They can then say, this matches the will of the people or doesn't. Now, a couple of weeks ago, it was it has to be verbatim. Now we don't know how it's gonna go. We're trying to get that answer so we can give town meeting members the exact truth, because
That's why I gave you the moment of pause there,
exactly
Jeff.
what Jeff said was
absolutely.
exactly what I was privy to 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now a lot of different people are throughout the state, going to the Attorney General's office saying, wait a minute, it's still a zoning bylaw. If town meeting votes to do that, town meeting still is spoken, but it could be effect based on how the majority of the town voted. So it doesn't change the rules of town meeting, but it could change the will of the people, if that was a decent way of
That's why I
explaining
knew
that.
things were changing and
That's
evolving.
where I think
That's
Jeff
why I
wanted to get
Yes,
that concern
absolutely.
out,
It's very
because
good. Very good point.
could vote and do everything correctly according to the rules of town meeting and to get that ratified, but you could be voting,
Throw
approving
everything.
something different than what the people spoke as.
so our hope is to have a clarification written from the Attorney General prior to town meeting.
Yes, we would like that. Jerry thinks that might be tough to get, but we're gonna try.
And the clarification is what?
Just because there's a lot of talk in town, obviously, a lot of folks, by a pretty clear majority, did not want retail marijuana shops in Milford. We're just getting a lot of feedback after the fact because of the other language that was, and I think everyone kind of is aware of this. There's a couple of businesses in town that also do this type of work.
That was my next question. So how are they tied into this Pro Verde and Sage, I guess? Are they contemplated being dealt with as part of this proposed bylaw, or is it being dealt with separately?
I'm not sure. I'm just hearing people say, well, I don't want pot shops, but I might make a motion to amend it because manufacturing, testing, cultivating, we're not concerned about that. So I've heard from people, town meeting members, that feel that way. But it's very important what Jeff said, that we just have to at least let people know that if we don't get a clear answer, that
It could very well be
it could,
kicked out.
it
by
could
the-
very well be kicked out because it goes against the will of the people.
And the referendum, Andy, the referendum is strictly for non-medical.
Yep.
That includes recreational, that includes testing and cultivation, but it's 100% non-medical.
Yeah, and it said that right in the
It
language,
says right in the
so.
language.
Would you pass over it?
I'm sorry?
Would you
You
pass
pass
over
over.
this in case we should vote?
No, I think,
I think
no,
it
I think it needs to be voted on, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna
Whether
take
they
it
have
up
the
in
amendment or
October.
not, they're gonna have to deal with it.
And I think it's only
Repercussions
fair
at the
because
AG.
we did have a referendum and people voted, so I think this has to go to town meeting. It's just, people are very, town meeting members have approached me, just kind of confused because a referendum said this, but then some other people are talking about making amendments, and they're like, well, how is that affecting? And I'm like, well, we really don't know. Obviously, rules of town meeting, you can amend by a majority and pass by 2/3, but what does that do to the
The
actual
repercussions
vote
of-
that
Right.
Of the whole.
the residents of Milford voted on?
Right, it's imperative that by town meeting, the town meeting members have a clear understanding of the vote.
That if they decide to make a change, that there could be repercussions to that.
Absolutely. I think it's a very important point.
Thank you
I'm
for
glad you
bringing
brought
that
it
up,
up,
Jeff.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any discussion on Article
14?
14?
I'll second Al's motion. Did we skip it? I think Al made a motion.
Yeah, so, favorable recommendation by Aldo, second by Jeff, for a favorable recommendation on Article 14. All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, passing over 19. 25, thank you. Article 25 is another water company article regarding unpaid water bills.
Yeah, they're very simple. This will allow the town to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Sections 42A through 42F. Very simply put, if someone doesn't pay their water bill, it's an unpaid water bill, this will allow us to establish a lien for collection purposes to collect on that water bill. That's all. It just allows us to accept that legislation, which will allow us to do that.
Similar to the sewer bill.
Exactly, exactly. Exactly like that.
Question.
Bobby?
Mr. Valani, if you know, question, does that lien or does that unpaid bill start to collect interest, and when and at what % interest is
I
carried?
don't know when. My guess would be third. Actually, I don't want to guess. I don't know.
I
but
believe it's
yeah,
when it actually goes to tax title, so
Right.
simply, is what you call liens added to tax, so it's just gonna be applied to the tax bill. And then once it goes to, the title, then it would be collecting interest.
At what point does the interest start to accrue?
It would be, once it's committed to that bill, so.
Once
as
it's
soon-
late.
Yeah, as soon as it's turned over to the collector and applied.
And at what %?
I
If we
believe it's
know,
14, I believe.
Yeah.
which is like a sewer bill, I believe.
Yep, it'll be the
Tax,
exact
tax.
same. Any interest collected on it would be
Okay,
property
I
of the
just wanted
enterprise
to
fund as well.
check and verify, that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good question,
Thank you,
Bobby.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Anybody else? Jeff?
Do we have any outstanding ones now, do we know? I mean, I know it was part of due diligence, or lawyers, or
It must be.
bonds, is we something we know we're gonna adopt right away?
Well, there's going to be
gotta be.
indemnifications in the purchase and sale agreement to insulate us from, so their debt is going to be their debt. And there could be adjustments during the closing, or things like that. So the answer, I do not know
No, I understand.
off the top of my head, but I'm sure that's something we'll find out. Again, there'll be adjustments as part of the purchase on a number of items.
Thank you, Rick.
Any other questions? So do I have a motion for Article
I'll make a motion.
25, favorable recommendation by Jeff, second by Chuck. All those in favor for a favorable recommendation on Article 25? Great, thank you, it's unanimous. So we have quite a few articles with you guys next meeting. The ones we passed over tonight, and then our articles, the final two, 26 and 27.
Fix the tax rate
Yep.
and stabilization
Yep.
contribution.
Yep,
Yes.
all right, great. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you coming early, and thanks for coming down, Rick.
No problem, thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Good night, Joyce. Good night, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good night.
You guys,
All done, Jerry.
Mike, how are you?
Got it all.
Jen, we already did you guys. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
But sorry about that, it went quick.
Take the money and run.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Are you going out there?
Right back. We got him.
Yeah, we have a second.
You look like you're in good shape. I'm in good shape. The shape I'm in.
You can hold it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to have you come right in and get in the hot seat. We're running ahead of schedule. Do you mind sitting down?
Amy isn't here yet, and I know you want to speak to Amy too, but I can start.
No. To be honest with you, I know that you have a lot of the answers, and I'll apologize to Amy when she gets here, because they're great and have good answers for you anyway, but I apologize. We've been very quick tonight.
It's okay, I'm here, don't worry.
Awesome. Gentlemen, so we have Jen from the Youth Commission. They have 2 articles on the town meeting warrant. Yeah, thank you very much. Article 7 is the first article, which is for a alarm system. And I know that you have been to the Capitol subcommittee on that. I know you have posted all the specs. If anyone's gone online to look at it, all the specs for the system and all that kind of stuff is on there. But Jen, why don't you give us just a quick synopsis of what you're looking for?
Yeah, so for the surveillance, it also includes an alarm system and intercom system with the quote that we provided. So in general, we have this $5 million investment with this building, and there's no alarm or security system. So we're looking to include that into the building so that we can monitor both outside and inside. I mean, we see high traffic from morning to evening. I mean, you can look across the street, and we have basketball groups in there right now. So it's to prevent outside incidents, if, for theft, I mean, or we had a broken window over the weekend very early on into the renovation, so that's to have some surveillance outside and then inside the building as well. The alarm system is obviously for when the building is not being monitored as well, so that there'd be a security and a sound system going on if there's anyone that entered the building off hours. And then the intercom system helps provide more for the after-school program, so we have multiple programs run throughout the entire day during that program, and we need to have access to the different programs and different facilitators throughout the building where there's no phones located. So we designed it so it's all the intercom systems are in where the rooms are that programs are being run.
This alarm system would be hooked right into the police and fire and all that type of stuff for any indication. I know fire, they'll know before the alarm goes off if there's a fire over there. But the police would be aware of any intrusion into the building and all that type of stuff?
Yep, exactly, yep.
Excellent, great.
This is
Does
just
anyone have any
one-
questions?
Yes,
Actually,
I
Amy,
do.
Amy just walked in the door, so I'm gonna try to catch her eye if I can.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Aldo.
These are the only 2 things. that-
Absolutely.
How much are we talking?
So the warrant for the surveillance and alarm system is $25,000, and that includes all 3 systems.
So they had put in
Well, the second part of that question is you referenced the $5 million building. Why wasn't this included
This
in
is
the original
existing back here.
rehab of that facility?
So when we,
It was still a $5 million building then. Why wasn't that included in the original bid?
when we were originally allocated the funds, I mean, there was a scope of project that was involved, and everything on the table was included, all of our wish lists. But there were, as many of you guys know, there were many problems with that building. So during the whole process, there was a lot of items that had to be cut out.
Yes. Chris, is there a
Never
cap?
in
Is there a
there.
cap?
It's never in there, so what you're
They're here
saying
tonight, you can
is
ask
that because you cut things out,
They just
that
came in.
doesn't mean that the original alarm system was never in there, so that couldn't be cut.
It was a,
My
it was,
point is very simple.
No, I know.
We spent $5 million, and $25,000 is certainly not a large amount of money. But the fact of the matter is, we sat here any number of times and reviewed what was gonna occur over there with the reconstruction. I just have a problem that all of a sudden now we knew we were putting together a $5 million building. We knew we needed some type of security system in there. It wasn't in part of the original presentation, but that's just me.
I think it was in the original. Our Taj Mahal, as we would say when we presented it at first. And then we were asked to make cuts and come back. And we did that, I believe, 2 more times and came down. We had an A, a B, and a C. And we ended up going somewhere between the B and C that was allocated. So it was asked, we would have liked to have that from the beginning, but we were asked to make cuts, and along the way it was cut out.
Jeff?
Amy and Jen, hi. I think I'm with Aldo on this, you know, I know I've been on the committee late, but it costs way more money to do it after the fact. So to say, yeah, we cut it out because it had to go, well, we darn well know we need a security system in the place, you know, so when they're doing it under construction, that's the time to do it. And I don't know what I know you're not arguing with me, because I know you need it, but I mean, and I get what you're trying to say, but I mean, you know, it's easy to second guess, right? But,
Mr. Simmons, I see your hand.
Just a quick thought, the town is, town properties are self-insured. It is in the town's best interest to make sure that any potential damage can get rectified quickly, or we can know who did it, because we are self-insured. So I'm not for or against it, I'm just throwing that out there.
no question, I'll move favorable, there's no question.
Before.
Yeah, just an editorial comment, Mr. Chairman. I think it's unfair that we bring this issue before these folks, because they probably were not the ones at the time. What Amy just outlined happens more often than I care to admit to. You know, we ask them, come back, cut, can you cut, can you cut, can you cut, and we come back and come back and come back. So, you know, maybe the blame can be shared amongst this committee and other building committees, if you will. So I think it's kind of unfair to lay it at their feet, and I agree with you.
Fair enough.
I agree with everything said, but maybe it's a teaching moment, as they say. There's a political correct statement, a teaching moment.
I told you every time you came before us about ripping that Band-Aid. I told you it was gonna happen every time, so.
Is capital improvement on their radar? Is this?
Yep,
Is this something that's
we,
been
we
addressed?
did have an issue, because obviously they were doing their own thing for quite a while, but, a year and a half ago? About that. A year and a half ago, the capital subcommittee got together with the youth commission. They put together a great capital program, 5 years out, of all their capital needs. I know they've been talking with Al and getting on the program and laying things out. I know that this was one of the things that they put on there right away, because obviously it was one of the first things to identify the need for a security system, so.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to belabor this thing, because I'm going to vote favorably on it. But what my brother says, I believe Amy was part of this from the beginning. I believe these three folks were also part of it from the beginning. So they're the ones that are coming here, so they're the ones that I'm going to lay this at their feet. I'm going to support it, I just don't like the idea. I don't dislike the idea of the security system, I just don't like the way it was run up the flagpole, so to speak.
They've heard that from that before. I said, Mr. Tenaro, I apologize, can you guys do me a favor, that you would like just, can you guys let me know who you guys are?
Identify yourself.
Just identify yourself.
I'm Jen Ward, I'm the director of the Milford Youth Center.
Ron Taylor, member of the board.
And Amy Tamani, I'm serving as chair
Yeah,
of the
the
commission.
new chairman. That's right. And I apologize, I sent the email to Mike,
No
and I
worries.
totally forgot.
No worries.
And then when Jen said, I'm like, Mike isn't responding to me, I was like, I should have sent it to Amy.
That's okay.
So sorry
No
about that,
worries.
Amy. And sorry that we're early, too.
No,
We're flying through things, so.
Well, early's never a bad thing.
Yeah. I know, you were right, Jack. So with that being said, Aldo, I know that you made a motion for favorable, does that stay? Jeff, and you have a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor of favorable recommendation on Article 7 for the $25,000 for security system? Unanimous. The second article they have is for Article 10, and that was for a divider for the gym and staging for, like, viewing the games and that kind of stuff, so.
Yep, so, again, this was part of the original scope of the project, and we had to remove it. There was a period of time where there were four alternatives that we had to choose from with the funds that were still available, and the committee did decide to finish the mezzanine level as the option that we decided as a group. So this is, again, something that we had always originally wanted to be a part of this project, and it would provide not only the ample space to run multiple programs during our after-school program, but it would also be huge for our rentals. So we have rentals every day, morning, evening, night, weekends. So it would allow us to have more groups during the same hours of operation.
And offer the youth center to more people at the same time.
Aldo?
Once again, two questions. First and foremost, how much?
The divider, we are asking for $32,500. With the staging, it provides.
That's the total.
Yeah, the total.
For the divider or for this whole article?
For this whole article, for the staging with the gym divider.
Okay, now, As far as the divider is concerned, are you gonna, would you tell me what you're looking at? Is it a walk-draw curtain or is it an electric curtain? Or it's not a wall, is it?
No, it's electric.
It's gonna be electric?
Yep, it's a slope curtain that it has an electric mechanism to have it go up and down.
I'm sure that if you take a run up to the Woodland School and look at the one that they have in their gymnasium, it's not electric, it's an excellent unit, and it's a walk draw. You just bring it across. There's nothing to go wrong. Electrical, motors don't need to be changed or run. But just before you commit to an electrical one, would you please call the principal, take a look at the one in their gymnasium. I was there last week, and they had one phys ed class on this side, one on that side, and the curtain was perfect. It was beautiful, and it worked well. Now, as far as, you're talking about curtains on the stage.
No, these curtains are divide the gymnasium in half.
So that was my question.
Two-
I
how
hate
many
to
do you
say
have?
I've never
Two
been in
times or four divisions?
Only one division to make it into two.
Divided into half.
At $32,000?
No,
But
I
No,
I
it
think the
includes the
difference.
staging.
think it's
that-
9,000 is the staging, and the difference is the curtain.
Yes, exactly.
Is that
And
right? Yeah.
Please do yourselves a favor and do the town a favor by looking at what we put in up there, and off the top of my head, I can't tell you what it cost.
I just have a question, you could help me with this. Is it a flat roof at the new gym? Because we have the issue in the youth center where it's a rounded roof, so to speak.
And that's why we went for the slope curtain, and we actually.
So our options are a little bit limited.
We're a flat roof in there, for sure, but,
Maybe I could
yeah,
just go
just take a
straight
look at
across.
it.
Okay,
This
yep,
thing,
absolutely.
even if you had it, the walk drawer, I am personally, I've had very bad experiences with electronics and, on those items.
Is that why you don't have a Chromebook in front of you?
No, not a
Just checking out.
Oh,
All right,
that was tough.
Gymnasiums
That was tough. No respect for these elders.
Electric units and things that just don't work.
No, I totally agree.
And so just take a peek.
Can I just add something to that as well?
Absolutely, Jen.
So we actually did meet with the principal, our former board member, Steve Manguso, met with the principal and at the Woodland School, and we actually got the contractor that did that, and he came out and this is what he suggested. So with the slope, and it divides right where our exit points are in the gym, so we couldn't use that.
You did investigate that? Fine, that's all I wanted you to do. Just take a look, because if we can save $10,000 on it, then why not?
Yep.
Okay.
Phil?
Yeah, Jen, you mentioned that, I'm happy to hear that you're busy, and that's a good thing. Can you give us some sense for how busy as it relates to like 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Are the people, just so that the committee has some sense for the volume and.
Yep. So, as of last year, this in September, so we had one full year in this building as an after-school program.
Yeah.
And so that alone, we had 632 unduplicated youth during that free program. So again, we're not counting one person that keeps signing in and out. So it's 632 different kids, and that's just for the after-school program alone. We've already reached 240 kids in the first month and a half that for this program. So we're already at 30% of that number that we had for the last after-school program. And we're seeing pretty similar numbers in average attendance. So
And how about the rentals to, various sports and groups in the community? How is that going? Is that,
for the first full year in the building, we had $45,000 of revenue from rentals.
that's pretty good.
And that's
And-
probably 25 different
Yeah, which
from,
I have these to pass.
not just sports, because I know there's that not a misconception, but
Absolutely.
there's a lot of the local
You think of it as a
sports,
gym, so.
Which is great,
yeah.
but there's the Cub Scouts, we've had all kinds of different.
And you think by being able to divide the gym, what's your sense in terms of additional revenue? Do you have I know
So-
that's a tough question, but
It's more, for us, obviously, we're thinking in a revenue perspective as well, but it's also to provide space for the community. We've set up multiple meetings with all of our people that rent the facility, and we are actually running out of space and time because of how much we need, how much gym space is needed in this town. So alone, I think it could potentially double it, because some organizations aren't looking for the full gym.
Where they can't afford it. That's
afford
the
it,
other
exactly.
thing.
but you have the capacity right now to utilize both sides of the gym, I guess, okay, all right.
And I do have these, just because we were a little early, I didn't get to pass it out. It lists all the groups that have used it since the renovations.
And Phil, you bring up a very good point, and to be honest with you, I'm hoping to have you guys in. We've just been very busy, there's been a lot of balls going in the air right now for us, but we're gonna have you in the next couple of meetings. I wanna talk to Rick and Jen and Amy about having you guys come in and really do kind of a full presentation to let us know, because it's been quite a while since we had you in, and just give you an update and, you know, being in the new building and everything else, so.
Yeah, that would be good, that would be helpful,
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely.
But again, I'm glad to hear it's busy.
Jeff?
I think, again, this, 2020 hindsight, right? If something had to be cut, this was something that was, to me, was optional to go. The security system, that's a different story, but this was some, so now, to me, this is the time to come back. Now, you have established rentals, you have, you have the rentals, now's the time to come back. Now I think is the appropriate time for this. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll move favorable for this out.
Yep,
second.
and a second by Phil. I said to you initially, and when we had talked about this a year ago, trying to get this on here for you, I'm very much in favor, especially for, I had a special spot in my heart for the Special Olympics, because I know they were having a hard time getting gym spot with you guys, and I understand that when there's a paying rental versus, hopefully a discounted rental, that you're having a hard time, and, that's why I was gung-ho about this divider, so I'm really hoping the Special Olympics are
They're
top of the list.
They're already set for November, they're already scheduled, and they
Jen, I
spoke
knew you'd-
November to March.
I know, I just thought I'd throw a plug from
No, I know, but
Miss
just,
Walsh
but
and the
just,
Special Olympics.
just for the record, we had never met prior, so
Yeah.
we didn't even know there was a need until it was brought to our attention, so
Awesome.
the commission obviously approved that.
Perfect. So I had a motion by Jeff, I think a second by Phil. All those in favor for a favorable recommendation on Article 10 for 32.5 for a divider and bleachers or staging? Unanimous. Thank you guys very much. Amy, sorry we kicked off early. I figured you'd be all right with it.
I thought I was early for one.
Yeah, sorry. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you guys coming in, and like I said, I'll give you a shout about when we can have you come in and have a more in-depth conversation.
You're always welcome to stop by.
I'd love to.
Yes, anytime, please come see us.
Thank you.
Like it.
is bleachers.
Yes, you can sit on it, yeah. Library. Hey Sue, how are you? Fine. We're learning a little early. Actually, you might be on time. We sat totally in front of you. so. Why don't you guys come up? And for the pleasure of the board, if you guys can do me a favor and just introduce yourselves and let us know who we're talking to.
Hi, I'm Sue Edmonds. I'm the library director.
Rory D'Alessandro, Chairman of the Board.
Jennifer DiMangian, Secretary of the Board.
Perfect, excellent. So guys, we have Articles 21 and 22. Why don't we look at Article 21 first, which is the parking lot.
Well, we want to pave the top parking lot, which is the patrons' parking lot, and the staff parking lot, and they have not been touched since the building was built back in 1986. And they're starting to show their wear, and we plan to resurface the parking lot for the patrons and also resurface the one below where the staff parks. And we also now have additional 6 parking spots, compliments of the highway department. They finished them off for us. So we're gonna take care of all of that and make it smooth and make it look pretty.
And you're adding 6 additional spots, I think,
We
on the
added-
left-hand side.
On the left-hand side, they just got done today with the striping for those. And I want to say I appreciate Scott Christofoli and the crew for doing that. And it's going to benefit Memorial Hall and also and the library.
I know you guys are struggling for parking.
So how much is the article?
40,000 altogether.
And that's for both the left side and the right side.
Yeah, it's for
of
all the parking lots that we have.
This was on the capital plan. You guys had it on for a while.
Yep.
I know that the capital subcommittee had vetted it and had a favorable recommendation on it as well. So with that being said, any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yep.
In this reconstruction, are there any drainage issues?
No, that was already vetted by Scott Christofoli.
Be satisfied that that is going to drain the way it needs to drain?
Yes, we haven't heard anything else about the drainage, so it's been vetted.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Abundanza?
6 new space.
Fall or spring, as the weather's getting colder, so are they gonna try to do this in the fall or first thing in the spring?
As soon as they decide when they can do it. You
Okay.
know, I probably, at this point, probably in the spring.
Depends on the weather.
Yeah, they could
Yeah,
get
'cause
it,
the asphalt
get it done. They can
company's
pave up
closed.
till December.
Yeah, October 30th. You're in November, so.
Enough time, just.
Yeah. No, good point.
Mr. Chairman,
Favorable.
Jeff first, and then.
Chris,
we'll get to-
Chris, you got a question?
Is this total reclamation? They're gonna rip it up, new gravel or anything? They just,
No, they're just gonna retop it and take care of the dents and the pits and everything else that's been accumulating for the last 30 years.
yeah.
They're gonna just overlay on that?
As far as we know, yes, that's what we were told.
You're not gonna grind any of it, cold plane any of that?
That, I don't have that answer, I don't know. We worked with
Because
Braza.
if there's problems under there now, you're gonna have problems
Well,
in a year or two.
It's been vetted by the highway department and Braza, so we went with their
It's in the,
recommendations.
I can look it up, but
on the
it's,
quote.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
on the quote, I know it's on the
I
quote.
think they're ripping it up.
I think they are too, that's why, but I didn't wanna say that till I brought it up.
better be ripping it up.
Well, excavate, remove, and dispose of
Yes.
existing.
Cover it for 40,000.
I thought so, but I didn't wanna
That
see
means
the
you're gonna
bid.
get two
Thank you,
coats of
Jeff.
asphalt, they're gonna take the old one out, and it'll be all smooth, they'll compact it, get rid of the bad.
These guys are the experts, so we took it and I said, okay.
Yeah, I only asked the question to help get to the money.
Nope, you're exactly right.
No, you're fine.
May I just,
I'm gonna get to Mike and then I'll get you, Aldo.
So will the 6 spaces, new spaces be available for public use?
Yes, we talked with the Historical Commission, and they can use them after hours and on the weekends. So they can use it after, at library hours.
But during library hours, are they available for public use?
No, that's what we discussed, that they weren't available for public use, because back there, unfortunately, it's so tight that we needed the parking for us, because we're parking next to the dumpster, we were sort of being in an area where we shouldn't really be parking, near the handicap area. So we asked for these spaces, and this means that it would free up the
free up
flow.
six
It's been
spaces
historically,
somewhere else, yeah.
staff party on the left-hand side, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Aldo, I'm sorry. 40.
would you read what that quote is for again?
I'm sorry, I closed it as soon as I had it in my hand. Sue, would you mind,
You want the?
if you can give it to Aldo?
Is there any kind of a contingency in here?
It was 29,000 for Brazos quote, and then from the highway department, they said 10. So we gave ourselves $1,000 leeway with 40,000.
Okay, so they're gonna replace the gravel, they're gonna grade and compact, okay, fine.
And 2
I was just concerned that, when you start pulling the gravel off, you get unsuitable soil underneath and you can't compact it, so then it becomes a roller coaster in a while, but this seems to be very accurate. You're gonna have about $1,000 contingency,
Yes,
good luck,
thank you.
yeah.
They have 10 from the
Before we get a whole lot of extra gravel if you need it, that's not gonna work.
We got 6 new spaces altogether down in the staff parking area.
What's the total?
10 altogether, there's 22 of us, I think there's like 15 spaces between the original parking spaces and the new 6 spots.
You still have 7 people parking someplace else.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, the historical commission can use those, like they're using them tonight. They're having their singers are over there and they parked in the back.
You have real estate constraints. I don't think it's any question. We've talked about this for years. You guys are in a tough spot.
This was the best of
May I just
Yeah.
the
jump
world.
again?
Okay, absolutely. Aldo.
One other question, I don't see anything in here for striping.
That is, we have an email about that with Scott Christofoli, and the striping's gonna be taken care of. I got that
Highway
email.
department will do it for you?
It's gonna be part of the contract, yes. I've got the email here if you
His
wanna read it.
contract,
His contract with Braza.
Left, and she didn't say how
his
many.
contract with Brazos.
Yeah, no additional cost.
Yeah.
It's part of the
It's
town.
an intercompany.
So it's 15 on the left. How many are on the right? Spots around?
6.
No.
Oh,
Oh, on the top
Top
lot?
lot.
Top lot.
What is that?
we have about 20
I was
spots
gonna say
there.
about 20.
26, I think.
Yeah, 26,
26.
yeah.
Right.
So
I
you're
have to
gonna
go back
have
to
about
the
40
planning
spots.
drawing for it. but-
Altogether, yes.
Okay.
Between staff and public, yes.
That's $1,000 a spot.
No, Scott's gonna strike.
It's a lot cheaper than bank, right?
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
lot cheaper than Vic.
Any other
And it hasn't been done since 86.
Yeah, it hasn't been done since 1986.
Any other? Really?
And they're gonna take care of the curbing. There's a few curbings that we have to redo as well. That's part of it.
And that's all. Okay. Any other questions regarding Article 21? Libraries looking for 40,000 for their lots.
Move to vote favorable?
Get a favorable recommendation from Mr. Nicholson.
Second.
Second by Chuck. All those in favor for favorable recommendation? Unanimous. Second article you guys have is Article 22, which is in the amount of $37,000. Thank you very much.
Well, once again, this is going to replace the software that runs the HVAC system, and that was done back in 2006 when they renovated the library. And what's happening now is that it's several generations behind the current HVAC software. We're going to use Johnson Controls. And also, we have hot and cold spots now in the library. So there's some people who are too hot, too cold, and we also have a history room that needs to have a temperature that's regular. So we went out, got 3 quotes, and they generally came in around 35, 36, 34,000. And we got them from E&E and some other company called Northern Energies. And we did a little contingency, so we figured 37,000 would replace all the thermostats, which are about 10 of those, and also upgrade the software to take care of the problems in the heat levels. And the controllers, yeah.
Hello?
I'm not looking to make work for somebody, but the gentleman who was the facilities director at the school department is excellent with this stuff. I just know I want it to work. If, you might wanna talk with him and see if he can tell you that that system is a better system than this system and so forth.
All of them are quoting Johnson.
Okay.
Same, it depends on who we're gonna buy it from.
They're all Johnson controls?
It's SX 80, and we're on 60.
Okay.
Phil?
Yeah, just a general question. Do you hope to realize some efficiencies because of the new software? Did they quantify that for you, or have any representation?
It wasn't very high,
Yeah.
just because of the building envelope and how the heating and ventilation system works. I mean, it's just, it was not it's not what we would hope for, but it also, we have to be concerned about the historical room, where we have all of the documents from the current collection and other historical documents that we have to bring down to a constant temperature. So the efficiency, while it would be great to get it up, was negligible,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay.
I wanna
Did
say
you
it was
look to
around
realize efficiencies? Is that something that was
We
in
did
your,
ask.
in
Yeah.
your proposal? Yeah,
We
okay.
did.
Okay.
Jeff?
2 questions. Does this impact, I know we talked about at this committee, the server room, right? Does this impact, nothing to do with
No,
that?
we-
right?
Separate systems.
Separate system, right?
And we have an air conditioning system in the server room at the moment. That was our last year's capital plan
And then
request.
we talked about a door and a vent and.
Yeah,
We took care of that, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Nope, absolutely, yeah.
The
gotta be
second
a-
part,
that's
the
gotta
second
be a
part of my
separate
question is about the control. I get the thermostats, I understand that stuff. Just talking about dampers, and because it's warm air, right? So how are they gonna duck it? How are they gonna fix it to zone it, to get like the historical room? I don't know, I'd be curious into that, and I think to Aldo's point, Rob Quinn's very good about knowing the systems that,
We've worked with Rob Quinn on other things previously, so we can talk to him again.
It wouldn't hurt, I mean, because
just make sure it covers your needs.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's,
when you mentioned that there are differences in temperature,
Temperature.
cold over here, too warm over here, that's not necessarily gonna be the computer system you put in. It's, as
Mechanical.
Jeff mentioned, yes, there's a mechanical portion of that too. And so if you're gonna fix it, we need to be sure that you're fixing it, not just putting the new system in, because if the end of the system doesn't work, and this particular computer's telling it should be, you're still gonna have cold spots, still have.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jen, you should, maybe find out if it's a ducted system, a closed system, so it doesn't really blow air, Aldo?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it
Before
closed?
you buy it.
Well, with the
You get
HVAC subcommittee met with E&E,
Alright,
Yeah.
because
okay.
there was confusion on whether or not it included the air handler at one point, which it does not. The controllers are being replaced because, so the computer system itself is so far out of line with everything that we need to update the software. The software can't be updated until you update the computer, and the computer, when you update it, won't talk to the controllers that we have currently. So we can't move forward on anything else until we do this
Take care of
part.
this.
And we did talk to E&E about the air handler, but we won't even bring that up right now.
So it
That's
could
a
be,
massive-
you could have more problems.
No, the air handler is the air handler.
Yeah.
No, seriously, though.
Yeah.
You're gonna, this may not solve your problem, so, you're gonna get your money at the town meeting, but before you spend it,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, do some of the due diligence and figure out whether or not it's cold in that section only because those dampers don't work, or it's warm over here only because of something else, before you spend the money, because this may not solve your problem. Or maybe a little investigation and, you know, a little bit of a change there, a little addition there, then you get it to do what you want it to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we can certainly contact
Sure.
the company.
Yeah, we can talk to Rob Quinn again too, and the
Yeah,
companies.
I mean, don't tell them I said this to him.
We're gonna send them right to you.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna be meeting with him tomorrow morning,
Oh,
so
see
I'll
that?
tell him you're gonna
All right,
call.
good.
Just real quick, Mr. Chairman, outside of this, at the end of taking the vote, I have a question for the committee, unrelated to this. So if they could just stay for a minute or two after we take the vote. And with that, I will make a favorable recommendation on Article 22.
Second.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Bobby, seconded by Mike, for a favorable recommendation on Article 22 for $37,000, thank you, $37,000 for the library. All those in favor? Unanimous. Excellent.
Just real quick, in reviewing the document that was put up on the bulletin board, and I tried to download it and it wouldn't let me, there was a notation in there about a fence. And it said in there that they're gonna delay the fence
Yeah.
because there's inadequate funding. And the amount was $12,000, and it just raised a red flag for me. Now, if there's more to the story and you'd rather wait for capital L, that's fine.
I'll wait for capital L.
Fine, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This fence has got the longest story.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
don't
Warren,
know.
it's
Yeah, I
like
need
Warren
to-
Hayes.
Warren
It's
Hayes.
inadequate
If we could
funding.
just-
You know, it was gonna
Can't
work
read,
out
you can't read it on the beach,
20,000, and they
no.
withdrew it completely.
Okay,
War and Peace.
enough said.
And then they'll
Thank you.
resubmit.
But Bobby, I will put that on and we'll have them
No
talk.
worries.
We're scheduled to meet with him on the 18th anyway.
Great.
All right, good. All right, great.
All right, well, thank you guys very much for coming in, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, Susan, thank you.
Good evening.
All right, guys, that's everything we had on the
Guys are doing
agenda
a good
tonight.
job.
Obviously, we had a couple articles I thought were gonna take up quite a bit of time that the selectmen are gonna talk about at our next meeting, because they still have to have discussion on Monday. Last thing before we leave, I wanna thank everybody. This is the type of stuff that the capital planning and the 5-year project that makes these meetings go a lot quicker. You know, the information being up on the drives ahead of time, we can see all this stuff. And you can see that these capital meetings used to be, you know, drop down, throw out fights, and really, it flows now, and I think this is a compliment to the system we have in place. Lastly, I know a lot of you, I got the stink eye when I came in that you guys had looked over the subcommittee assignments. As I had mentioned, I had talked about last year that I wanted to just change things up. I think it might be, not that anybody was getting stale. You'll notice that all subcommittee chairmen have remained. I wanted to have that as a constant, so that there would be some institutional knowledge in each one of the subcommittees, so all the subcommittee chairs have stayed. You notice that some people have stayed, but I tried to move it around. The newbies, couple times on the same committee, I'll fix that one, Andy. But like I said, we want to just try to stay on the top of things, and I think giving everybody a little bit of knowledge about some more things, I think would be good. So, but I did preface it with that if anyone has any issues with I have it set up, please let me know. I'll be happy to move stuff
I
around.
think Aldo should be on the capital planning committee.
Yes.
The electronics committee.
No, capital planning.
Capital planning, all right. Because then he's got to bring Jack with him. So.
Oh, yeah, I
I have
can't
a-
go anywhere without my.
Chris, I just have a comment.
Go.
Do we have any, financial data on, what we're gonna put on the tax rate, what's going to stabilization? Where is that whole package?
Actually, I will get that to you. They're finishing up on the Monday meeting. We will have that before, as soon as it's done on Monday from the selectmen.
Okay.
I will have that to you guys so that we will have it prior to
The
our meeting on the
yeah.
18th. Because obviously that's important, because when it's all said and done, what's going to raise and appropriate, what's free cash, all that kind of stuff, you guys will have that at our next meeting.
Okay.
Because that's obviously very important.
That's, yeah.
Yep,
I mean,
no question.
That's the hard heart and soul next
No,
meeting.
there's no, yeah, no question.
Okay.
That being said,
Motion to adjourn.
wait a minute.
We've been working on all that stuff, so.
Yeah, I know you have.
Give you guys a little
Yeah,
bit of-
Paul, yeah, okay.
Yep, no, I know you have.
It's all going on.
I've seen it, yeah, that's good.
All in favor?
I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Nicholson. Second by Chuck. All those in favor? Well, thank you all and have a great night.